What's going on, guys? It's time for NXT No Mercy, taking place tonight in Denver, Colorado at the Ball Arena. We're set for a 6-match card, 5 championships on the line, and I'll tell you what, the one match that doesn't have a title on the line could be the most intriguing, the most interesting, and that being brother versus brother, or former brothers, shall I say, of MSK. Wes Lee going up against formerly known as Nash Carter in NXT, now Zachary Wentz. One half of the Rascals, who, by the way, this past Friday won his first ever X Division Championship at TNA Emergence in the Ultimate X match, which is always fun to watch. Those kinds of matches, the Ultimate X, are always good. So congrats to Zachary Wentz, walking in with a little more confidence, now being a singles champ over there in TNA. And it's going to be good. So we're going to get to all the predictions in just a moment, including that and the 5 other title matches. Again, the NXT men's and women's titles on the line, as well as the NXT North American men's and women's championships on the line as well. And last but certainly not least, the men's NXT Tag Team titles also. So if this NXT No Mercy is anything like what we saw last September at No Mercy, then I think we're in for a good one. Now, we saw many great matches last year where Trick Williams was able to defeat Dirty Dom Mysterio, become North American champion. It was for only a cup of coffee. I think he ended up losing it on that next episode of NXT. That's nor here nor there, but that was exciting. That was the beginning of a major year for Trick Williams. Eventually beating Carmelo Hayes WrestleMania weekend, and eventually defeating Dragunov to be NXT champion until recently when Ethan Page beat him. So that was great. We got to see part 3 of that trilogy between Ilya Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes, where Ilya Dragunov was finally able to defeat Carmelo Hayes and become the NXT champion last September. He had a very lengthy reign, a better part of 9 months, 10 months almost. And then last but certainly not least, made me a believer. I don't know about you guys, but Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton. That was a fantastic match as well. I believe that was some kind of a no-holds-barred or no-DQ type of match. But that's when I knew. That feud with Becky Lynch, they had those couple of matches last fall. That's when I knew that Tiffany Stratton was more than just looks, more than just, some good-looking blonde that has the look. But she is the real deal, Tiffany Stratton. And that's why it's about to be Tiffy time in a matter of moments or minutes. Definitely going to be the next WWE Women's Champion over there on SmackDown when she decides to go and cash that in successfully and defeat Nia Jax. They even teased it yesterday at Bash in Berlin, and that wasn't the first time. That's either the second or third time they've teased it already within the last month. So that being said, we got to see all that great stuff happen last year at NXT No Mercy, and I think we are in for a good one here tonight as well. So without further ado, let's get to these predictions that I have for you, and we'll preview tonight's card. So again, let's start with that singles matchup, the one match that does not have a title on the line, and that is Wes Lee, who turned on his brother Zachary Wentz just 3 weeks ago on NXT television. Also turned on Trey Miguel, both members of the Rascals. They were a team for a very long time, again, for the better part of a decade in some way, shape, or form on Impact TV. Of course, on NXT for a couple of years till Nash Carter or Zachary Wentz was let go a couple of years ago as MSK, the two of them. They had 2-time NXT Tag Team Champions, so this is going to be very good. That being said, even though Zachary Wentz did win that X Division title on Friday and had success, I don't think he's going to win again this weekend. I think Wes Lee does get it done. Start off this heel run for Wes Lee very good. So I'm going with Wes Lee for the victory in that one, but it's going to be an amazing match for sure. It's always better, right? The matches are always slap more, quite literally, in the sense of just being better. They say whenever you're facing a friend or even a family member in the ring, they really lay it into one another a little bit more. So I think we're in for a good one. Let's talk about the tag team titles, right? The NXT Tag Team Championships on the line. Chase Hughes, Andre Chase, and Ridge Holland going up against Nathan Frazer and Axiom, the team they defeated to get those titles just a couple weeks ago on NXT television. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about this. Feel free to sound off in the comments, but as far as I'm concerned, things have been going a little too smoothly for Chase U. Something just feels off. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that Chase U is going to lose already tonight, but it's a matter of time till somebody in that group turns heel on the rest of them. Now, could it be Ridge Holland, as most of us suspect it will be at some point, that he's playing this nice guy role, but he's just trying to basically break them from within? Or will it be Duke Hudson? Is Duke Hudson feeling some type of way that he is not with Andre Chase in this second tag team title run as he was with him earlier in the year or last year when they first became tag champs and was essentially replaced by Ridge Holland? So could it be Riley Osborne, somebody we didn't suspect, who was also in that Ultimate X match the other night where Zachary Wentz won. Could he be feeling some type of way too? Feeling slighted. He couldn't win in singles there. He's not part of this tag team, even though he's a big part of Chase U. So he was in that NXT Breakout Tournament final a couple months ago, was defeated by Femi, and Femi's been having the run of his life as North American champion these past several months. So it's very easy to see Riley Osborne feeling some type of way as well. So I don't know. That said, I do see somebody in Chase U turning heel as early as tonight. Now, do I see them retaining the titles? I do. I'm gonna go a little reluctantly here, as you can see. After all that being said, I'm gonna go with Chase U retaining, only because they just won the titles 2 weeks ago. Not to say they can't lose, but you're definitely gonna see some sense of friction, though. I think this may be a slow burn type of deal, whether it is Ridge Holland, whether it is Duke Hudson, whether it is Riley Osborne. Chase U is not gonna be this happy-go-lucky frat, or whatever you want to call them, right? This school of sorts. So I'm gonna go with Chase U getting it done. I don't see Nathan Frazer and Axiom getting the titles back, at least just yet. So that's who I got so far. So I'm going with Wes Lee. I'm going with Chase U. Let's go on to match number 3, where we have a matchup here for the NXT Women's North American Championship. Kelani Jordan going up against Wendy Choo. Now, Kelani Jordan won this inaugural championship, I want to say, at Battleground. So that was around early June or so. So just a little over a couple months as champion. She's been doing all right, with her title defenses and such. But this is one where I am definitely thinking we see a title change hands tonight. I think Wendy Choo is definitely due for some singles gold, even when she was babyface, right? Or even when she was heel, prior to the babyface run of this Wendy Choo character. A few years back when she was with Xia Li and that little faction they had down there in NXT. So I'm going to go with New NXT North American Champion for the women there. I'm going to go with Wendy Choo defeating Kelani Jordan. I could definitely see that taking place. Now, let's go with this next up match here. It's going to be a great one for sure. NXT North American Championship, Tony D going up against Femi. And this is going to be a good one, without question. So it could be argued that this is Femi's toughest opponent to date as far as these title defenses are concerned for the North American title. Do I see it happening? Could I see it? Absolutely. I could easily see Tony D getting the win here. For some strange reason, I don't see Tony D winning, though. So I'm going to go with Still, NXT North American Champion, Femi. I just don't think they're ready to take that title off of him just yet. And I don't know. I kind of feel like, similar to Gunther losing the Intercontinental Championship a couple months ago at WrestleMania, he bounced back really quickly just 2 months later and won King of the Ring. And then 2 months after that, not even, he then became the World Heavyweight Champion at SummerSlam. So I could see a similar situation happen with Femi. I could see him, when it is time for him to drop that North American title, for him to have a very small lull to get back to where he needs to be. And yes, I'm saying that Femi could be the next NXT champion, absolutely. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I am going to go with Femi retaining tonight. Although I do love Tony D. I've made that quite apparent over the last several months for sure. So let's go to match number 5, where we have an NXT Women's Championship match. Roxanne Perez defending against Jaida Parker. Now, Jaida Parker, she's been a huge rising star this year in 2024. She had her first PLE was a tag team matchup back in February. I think Battleground was her first, singles opportunity for gold. I believe she was in that 6-women inaugural opportunity for the NXT North American Championship over there. So here we are. Could Jaida Parker win tonight? Absolutely. Do I think she's going to be a champion in the future? For sure, but not tonight. I think Roxanne Perez does retain. And let's go back to that segment this past Tuesday where we saw at the very end, after the slap heard round world, right after Jaida Parker slapped Roxanne Perez out of her seat, they saw somebody towards the corner of the camera. They didn't show this individual on TV. And there was a lot of rumors. Is this the person we've been waiting to see on NXT TV? A couple, actually, new signees. Could it be Julia? Could it be Stephanie Vacker? I think it absolutely could be either one. And I think whichever one of these women it is, I think they are the one to dethrone Roxanne Perez. So it all depends. I don't know who it could be outside of those two names, Julia or Stephanie Vacker. But again, if it's one of those two, I do see them being the one to dethrone Roxanne. So I just don't think it's going to be Jaida Parker that gets it done. So again, and still, NXT Women's Champion, Roxanne Perez. So that takes us to the main event match. And this is tricky, pun intended. We have Trick Williams as the special guest referee here. And so we have Ethan Page, the champion, going up against seemingly everybody's favorite, whether you're a fan of TNA, NXT, etc., Joe Hendry. say his name and he appears. And so here he is, getting this title opportunity in a completely different company than who he's signed to, which I think is awesome. It's amazing to see. It really is. That said, I do think Ethan Page does retain his title. Again, not just because he's been champion for the better part of a month only, but I just don't see NXT dropping their title, regardless how popular Joe Hendry is. I just don't see them giving their NXT championship to somebody that is signed to another company. Again, regardless how over he is. Now, this could be the exception to the rule. It really could. You know, they didn't do that with Jordynne Grace a couple months ago when she had that opportunity. I believe it was at Battleground against Roxanne Perez, when a lot of people thought, hey, Jordynne Grace might get it done. She'll be double champ. Knockouts champion over there in TNA and the NXT champion. Now, that would have been another cool thing as well. That didn't happen, so I don't see this happening either. And still, NXT champion Ethan Page. Now, the main thing here is, will they help justify this with a Trick Williams heel turn? They made things seem really cool between the two, especially this past Tuesday on NXT. Between Joe Hendry, between Trick Williams. Joe Hendry earlier in the night said, Trick, you know, when I become NXT champion, don't worry about a thing. You'll be the first one I basically give an NXT title opportunity to. And as I said in my review this past Tuesday when I went live with you guys, I say, you know, Trick Williams, as much as he may have appreciated Joe Hendry saying that, at the same time, he's probably like, who the hell is this guy coming to my company and telling me, oh, yeah, I got you. I'll give you a shot at my title, when that was just Trick's title a little over a month ago. So I think Trick is kind of feeling some type of way, and honestly, rightfully so. So I could totally see a Trick Williams heel turn. I know yesterday a lot of people were hoping Kevin Owens maybe turns heel on Cody Rhodes and stuff like that. And again, I said this past week, even the week prior, I said, if anybody's going to turn, I don't think it's going to be a KO or anything like that, or Randy. Maybe Randy turns on Cody sometime in the near future as far as the SmackDown situation is concerned. But I do see Trick Williams turning heel tonight. I could. So I'm not 100% in, but I'm like 85-90 that he'll turn heel and potentially be the reason that cost Joe Hendry the match. Again, this past Tuesday on NXT at the very end, when Trick was announced as the referee, they did, you know, a fake situation where Trick was doing a 3 count. 1, 2, 3. Joe Hendry was holding up that NXT championship. All was good. Trick was dancing the Joe Hendry song. And I think that honeymoon stage is over as early as tonight. And you see Trick Williams do something a lot of us didn't think he would, and turn on the hottest babyface in possibly all of pro wrestling right now, and that being Joe Hendry. And I do think we could get Trick Williams versus Joe Hendry on the next pay-per-view or PLE. Doesn't even necessarily have to be NXT, as much as I would like that. I think this is how NXT repays TNA by allowing Trick Williams to go to the next pay-per-view over there. And honestly, I would put Joe Hendry over Trick Williams at the next TNA pay-per-view. I think that's the least they could do, all right? So those are my picks. That's what I got going on for tonight. I hope you guys all enjoy NXT No Mercy. Like I said, I think it's going to be great regardless. I'm not going to necessarily compare it to last year, even though last year was fantastic as well. Enjoy the show, guys, and I'll catch you tomorrow.